So before I run this example, our current code, I'd like to mention that, of course, over here, because indicator will be reaching 90 characters and even more with other outputs, which is kind of a little bit unusual for an output in console window. Typically, you would probably keep everything under 80 characters per line. But nevertheless, I will just maximize this window so I can just use all the space that I have on my screen real estate. So we're going to rerun this program, and so you can see that it shows us that the progress bar went from as promised from 0 to 10, then 20, and so forth. Okay, so this is what we have so far in our demonstration right here. And I mean, the part that I don't like is probably just this whole scale of the progress bar is just a little bit too much. It's very easy to adjust it by simply using this indicator, which is actually the current percent, and we can divide it by 2, right? Just like shorten the whole thing by by factor of 2. But at the same time, I just want you to know for this multiplication operator to work with strings, which basically constructs a string from this little string as many times as we want, the result of this division must be an integer. And this is why we need to use this integral division operator, right? The division which simply makes division, then throws away the remainder of the division, and then we get the integer division result. So no rounding is occurring, but here is quite all right. So if this is now became a little bit shorter, if I make this adjustment, and let's just say that, I mean, I guess we can comment on what we're trying to do here, just to make it clear that we print the percent of work complete so far, right? And shorten the progress bar. This should also be reflected, just to explain what is going on this line of code. Okay, so let's just make this change. So again, this is the change that we made to run the second time. I'm going to stop the execution of the current code, clear screen, and rerun it. Okay, so now this fits on the screen, which is nice, and you can see that it makes a progress over here on the left-hand side, just to show us the actual percent progress. All right, so also notice that there is a little bit of a delay between every 10 increase of a percent, and this is because actually inside this loop, what we do, we use this print statement, which is executed on every iteration. If we update the indicator only every 10% of progress, the printing of the indicator actually is happening on every loop, and this slows the whole program down, because the actual console output is taking time, and so it's in interaction with the console window, with the hardware and everything. So it's a slow process. So if I actually comment this out, okay, the dynamic will change, right? It should run much faster. So let's just stop again and rerun it. You see, just almost instantly, quickly makes progress to 100%, because this output is slowing it down. It's the actual payload of the entire loop, because this is the code that executes on every loop. So let's bring it back, because this is the example of the payload, but perhaps it makes sense to add a comment so that we reflect it in our demo. And remember it, that the printing indicator in every loop iteration significantly and unnecessarily for what we do right now. slows down the loop, which is okay. We probably want to slow down the loop just for the sake of demo. Okay, so this is perhaps the version of the program which I would leave alone, and we'll say this is our first demo of an animation with this progress bar. And notice that in the second example here, Animate 2, we can think about creation of a certain backdrop, because carriage return so easily allows us to print on the same line, right? To just end every line with carriage return symbol. It's very easy, so we can actually add a backdrop, and the second function here, named Animate2, takes the same value of the maximum and the backdrop, and simply prints the backdrop before anything else happens, and then just simply delegates the work to to Animate1. All right, so let's try this as well, right? So we now have we can now press enter to continue. We really didn't make any changes here. So here, I still need to restart it, because I did bring back the slower version of it, so we can just visually examine how it behaves. So I'll just stop the program and rerun it one more time. So this is the first progress bar from 0 to 100%, and this is the second, but now with the background, right? So I already knew, so I just made a copy of this output, pasted it over here for my reference, and replaced every character with like dashes. And so this creates a little bit of a background for my animation, which is a nice thing, so that there's some sort of predictability where this progress bar will stop. Okay.